The critique of pure ecological hermeneutics. John Rogerson interprets what the Bible says about the ecological role of humans in chapter 1 of Ecological Hermeneutics. He argues that the Bible does not imply that human societies should expand unsustainably, adducing the following excerpts from the Bible in support of this thesis. Firstly, from Genesis 1.29, Behold, I have given you every plant yielding seed which is upon the face of the earth, and every tree with seed in its fruits. You shall have them for food. A vegetarian diet, Rogerson claims, is at odds with unsustainable expansion. Secondly, Rogerson cites the injunction from Deuteronomy 22, which commands compassionate treatment for straying and lost animals, animals that have fallen down in some way. This, again, appears at odds with ecological irresponsibility. Thirdly, the context of Genesis 9, according to Rogerson, renders Genesis 1 a critique of the actual state of human behavior, not a mandate for exploitation of the world. Evidently, the biblical passage being interpreted is Genesis 1. Genesis 1 details how God created the earth and its creatures, formed humankind in his likeness, and assigned them dominion over every creature on earth. Interestingly, God judges his own actions as good, which implies that goodness preexists creation. There's an important question to be asked here, namely, is what is good unrelated to conscious creatures? Because if goodness predates creation, and thus the creation of conscious creatures, then goodness can have nothing to do with conscious creatures. As far as I can tell, an ethical system where goodness is rooted in something utterly besides conscious creatures is a poor ethical system. Anyway, the author convinced me of the opposite of his thesis. Genesis 1, I will argue, attempts to justify aggressive human expansion that wreaks havoc on the environment. This style of biblical hermeneutics is therefore useful if your goal is to justify aggressive expansion by appealing to the Bible, but not if your goal is to condemn such behavior. Why does Genesis 1 justify aggressive expansion? Because aggressive expansion is necessary in order to exercise dominion over every living creature and to be fruitful and multiply, and neither being vegetarian nor caring for animals precludes such activity. Moreover, attribution of motives to biblical authors is liable to be fraught with error, and there is no basis for rigor in such an endeavor, so one person's opinion is just as valid as another's. Hence, it's as valid to claim that the authors of the Bible advocated growth at all costs as it is to claim that they were critiquing the expansionist culture of the time. Given the preponderance of evidence to the contrary, the author's thesis is false. One is more justified in believing that the biblical authors meant what they said. This does not mean that we should abide by Genesis 1, however. We are under no obligation to be people of the whole book. In conclusion, Genesis 1 advocates irresponsible, unsustainable human expansion. An intellectually honest application of ecological hermeneutics would be hard-pressed to draw a different conclusion. People who would disagree with this assessment can have no recourse to the attribution of environment-friendly motives to biblical authors, because one can attribute environment-unfriendly motives with equal validity. This should not preclude pro-environment beliefs or actions among adherents to the Bible. As previously mentioned, we can be people of the book without being people of the whole book.